Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Against the Odds. So last week on our Against Odds poll, we had a second chance poll where cards that came in second, third place over the past few weeks got another chance on the poll, and the winner of our second chance poll was Saheeli Rai. And not just Saheeli Rai in general, but Infinite Combo with Saheeli Rai in Modern. So the deck we're playing this week is pretty sweet. This is heavily influenced by one of my old favorite decks that we played on Budget Magic and Mucha Brew, but Blue-White Amiria. So this is Saheelia, which is kind of a Blue-White Amiria deck splashing Saheeli Rai, because Saheeli Rai can do some really sweet things in this deck. I'm really excited for this one. I love Blue-White Amiria, and I think Saheeli Rai is actually going to be super awesome in the deck. So a quick reminder before we break down the deck. If you enjoy Against the Odds and you enjoy this Saheelia deck, it would be amazing of you if you could take a quick second, click that subscribe button down in the corner of your screen. It's a great way to support the channel and the site for free. So let's talk Saheelia in Modern. So, of course, the namesake card Saheeli Rai, a Planeswalker, but a really weird Planeswalker. Normally when you think about Planeswalkers, you think about cards that sit out on the battlefield, generate a bunch of value turn after turn, and Saheeli Rai can sorta do that. It can scry 1, deal a damage by plussing, which I guess is fine, scrying is good, but really, Saheeli Rai is a combo Planeswalker. And that's what we're trying to do with Saheeli Rai, is use her -2 ability, which can copy an artifact or creature, you give it haste, you lose it at the end of turn. It's kind of like Splinter Twin. We're trying to use that -2 ability to go infinite with a Sun Titan, which we'll talk about in a minute. Amiria is here too because it's the other part of the name. If we get a bunch of planes, it gets stuff back from our graveyard, allows us to maybe get back a Sun Titan to start the Saheeli Rai combo. But let's talk about the combo itself. So the combo in this deck is infinite Sun Titans with Saheeli Rai. So what we need to pull this off is 2 Saheeli Rais, which might sound like a lot, but the good news is they can be anywhere. We actually kind of want them in our graveyard, so we can play Saheeli Rai in the early game, it dies, or we use its ability to copy some stuff and get value, and then we get them in the graveyard. Once we have 2 Saheeli Rais somewhere on the battlefield, in our graveyard, even in our hand for the most part, we play a Sun Titan, and we get back a Saheeli Rai from the graveyard. We use the -2 on Saheeli Rai to copy the Sun Titan, which gets back another Saheeli Rai from the graveyard, and then the 2 Saheeli Rais essentially legend rule themselves. The Planeswalker, you can't have 2 of the same name on the battlefield, so they legend rule themselves. One goes to the graveyard, we keep the one that hasn't been activated yet, then that one copies the Sun Titan, gets back Saheeli Rai, copy the Sun Titan, get back Saheeli Rai. So the end result of this loop is we get an infinite number of 6/6 vigilant, hasty Sun Titan tokens, and we just beat our opponent down. We can make 100 Sun Titans if we want to by going through the Saheeli Rai loop. Even when we're not comboing off though, the combo, not combo, but the synergy of Saheeli Rai and Sun Titan is really sweet, because Sun Titan can always get back Saheeli Rai. Even if we only have 1 Saheeli Rai and we can't go infinite, just getting back Saheeli Rai, copy Sun Titan, get back something else when the Sun Titan token enters the battlefield, and then immediately attack with the hasty Sun Titan token, get back something else. That's like a million for one with just a Saheeli Rai and a Sun Titan. So there's a ton of value, even when we're not truly going infinite. Just getting back like 3 different things from our graveyard is amazingly powerful and can win a lot of games on its own. So just Sun Titan and Saheeli Rai are like best friends. They're so good together. So we also have a single Phantasmal image, which works well with Sun Titan. So we can like Saheeli Rai, copy Sun Titan, get back Phantasmal image, copy Sun Titan, get back something else, attack with the copy or the token of Sun Titan, get back something else, even more value thrown in. It's an old standard trick. So it just works really well with Sun Titan. But Saheeli Rai actually works with almost every card in our deck. There's so many sweet tricks we can do. So Saheeli Rai and Flicker Wisp is one of my favorite. And of course, remember, every single creature in our deck, except for the Sun Titan, is 3 mana or less, so we get it back with our Sun Titan. So we have that synergy. Saheeli Rai and Flicker Wisp is just so good. So we can copy a Flicker Wisp with Saheeli Rai, and we can, for example, just get a blocker out of the way and attack for 6 in the air, which is pretty sweet. We can also copy the Flicker Wisp, use the token that's a copy of Flicker Wisp to flicker the real Flicker Wisp, which gives us a Flicker Wisp that comes back into play on our end step, which allows us to get rid of a Planeswalker, a creature, or a Tron land for our opponent's entire next turn. So it's gone, and if we can plus Saheeli Rai for a few times, we can do this multiple times in a row, so it just keeps putting our opponent down a permanent, so lots of value there. Even just using Saheeli Rai to copy a Wall of Omens, a Court Hussar, is very good. It draws us an extra card. Court Hussar actually anticipates, essentially, and we can do this in the early game to find our Sun Titans, find our second Saheeli Rai. It might sound weird and it's not really aggressive, but when Saheeli Rai is drawing in us an extra card with these creatures that it can copy, it's very powerful. Pilgrim's Eye can get us a land. These cards also allow us to keep our Saheeli Rai alive. So if we're not going with the copy plan, if we get a couple Wall of Omens, a Court Hussar in the battlefield, it really clogs up our opponent's attacks. So then we can just scry with Saheeli Rai every turn, deal some damage, and find our Sun Titan, find our second Saheeli Rai for the combo. So it works really well together. The rest of the deck, Mortarpod is to get stuff in our graveyard to get back with Sun Titan. One of the other loops in the deck is Flicker Wisp, flickering Sun Titan, getting back a Flicker Wisp, flicker Sun Titan, which doesn't go infinite but generates a lot of value. Mortarpod lets us sack our Flicker Wisp to start that loop. Also just pretty good in some matchups, killing Inkmoth, Dark Confidants, Blighted Agents. There's a lot of 1 toughness stuff it kills. As far as removal, we got Path to Exile, Supreme Verdict, and Detention Sphere. And in all fairness, our deck isn't super fast. We're pretty grindy, and we can generate a ton of value. But remember our combo, 2 Saheeli Rais and resolving a 6-mana Sun Titan. So these cards just kind of help us stay alive until we can get the Sun Titan Saheeli Rai loop going. And then a couple of counters, 1 negate to protect our Saheeli Rais and Sun Titans. Ojutai's Command is another good value card. Gains us some life against aggressive decks to make sure we can live long enough to Sun Titan. Also gets back our Wall of Omens or a Phantasmal Image to copy something at instant speed, and can even counter an opponent's creature if we need it to. As far as the rest of the mana base, we got the 3 Emerias, which give us a lot of late game inevitability. If our Sun Titans die, we get them back, start the loop, so forth. Getting back Wall of Omens and Court Hussars let us find our Saheeli Rais, find our Sun Titans, and go infinite. Then our mana base is sort of warped because of Emeria, so we're playing a ton of planes to eventually get Emerion. So for red mana, we got 4 Sacred Foundries. For blue mana, we got 4 Hallowed Fountains, which give us access to the mana we need to cast Saheeli Rai while also being planes for Emeria. So Saheelia, some fetch lands so we can make sure we have our shock lands at the right time to cast Saheeli Rai, a single island, and then Ghost Quarter to disrupt the opponent. As far as the sideboard, we get a bunch of different removal. Gut Shot, Blessed Alliance, and Sudden Shock are really good against Infect-style decks. It helps some other places as well. Detention Sphere gets non-creature permanents, Ensnaring Bridge that can keep our Sun Titan from attacking, things like that. Pyroclasm and Supreme Verdict let us wipe away our opponent's board. Stony Silence for Affinity, a single Worship to help stay alive in combo-y matchups if our opponent's trying to kill us with Conflagrate, cards like that. Relic of Progenitus to fight against our opponent's graveyard out of like Dredge, for example, and a Dispel as additional protection. Last but not least, a Lone Missionary to gain us a bit of life and another Pilgrim's Eye. So that is Saheelia for Modern, and I have to say, I think this deck is going to be pretty good. So lately, we've played a lot of really janky against the odds, and this one is not on the Janko meter anywhere near those other ones. This is very similar to the blue-white Emeria decks we've played, and this is essentially like, if I was going to try to go infinite with Saheeli Rai at a GP, this is the deck I would play. So I intentionally didn't kind of up the jank too much. So this is like a semi-competitive deck, but I really believe that this is the best way to take advantage of Saheeli Rai in Modern, because it just has astounding synergy with so many parts of our deck. Sun Titan gets it back from the graveyard. Every single creature in our list can be copied by Saheelia for value, discounting Phantasmal Image, but drawing us cards, getting us more lands. It just does so much. And then in Blue-White Emiria decks, sometimes you get in this position where the game just goes super long and your opponent can kill your stuff, kind of gum up the board. But having this infinite combo that we will eventually draw into with double Saheelia Sun Titan gives us a way to shut down the game in short order and make sure we're not going like for hour-long matches and running out of time. So I like that aspect of it as well. So I think this deck is going to be pretty competitive. I'm really excited to play it because I love this style of deck. I love Enter the Battlefield abilities and Sun Titans, and Saheeli just seems super awesome in the list. So I think it's going to be fun. We'll see exactly how good it is, but I think it's going to be pretty sweet. Anyway, that's Saheelia, and that's our Against the Odds deck for this week. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy the gameplay videos, and I will talk to you soon.